Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
There's nothing wrong with your podcast player. Do not attempt to adjust the volume. Hello and welcome to Studio 2009. I'm, of course, TFG1Mike. Joining me, as always, is Steve Megatron. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, we are here, and this time in episode 12, we're going to be talking about the toy ads we grew up with. Whether they be dolls, whether they be action figures, whether they be super soakers, whether they be slip and slides, I have found a plethora of both 80s and 90s and older toy ads as well on YouTube and things like that. And I thought this would be a fun discussion to kind of kick off the new year here inside Studio 2009. What were some of the ads you remember as a kid in the 90s seeing on TV?
Man, like, pretty much, I mean, I watched a crap load of TV because it's funny that I go and try and watch some of the stuff now, and I'm like, I forgot about this. I forgot about this. I forgot about this. Between like the Super Soaker stuff that comes up, or the Nerf, Nerf or nothing. And then the old, oh my goodness, the old Transformers and Beast Wars ads are horrible. Like, not only is the CG and the animation like terrible when it shows up, especially Beast Wars, like some of the early commercials for it are far beyond what I expected. Because I mean, I've seen them, but it's been such a long time. I can't remember. Like, they even had like a version of the logo, but it was totally different in color and design. And the background was like a gradient gold, and which ended up going into the text later instead. But and then the original premise of Beast Wars, get Optimus and Megatron, the Bat and the alligator, and get this free comic with them, which told a totally different storyline. Like, originally, it looks like they tried to do where the Maximals and Predacons were in modern day, and adapted to modern day creatures, and that where some of them, like Cheetor and Waspinator, kind of carried over, but either way, it's still kind of funny. So I had fun watching those, and then the old Transformers stuff where the kid goes, "Robots in disguise," and then the suit goes around his head, or his head transforms to a robot.
In the beginning came the beasts, but nature lies. They're robots in disguise. Beast Wars. Heroic new Maximals battle the evil reptile and insect forces of the Predacons. Evil Waspinator changes from insect to high-tech and puts the sting on Cheetor. But there's more to Cheetor than meets the eye. Under the skin lurks a robot within, with hidden weapons firing. All new Beast Wars. Each sold separately. It's Fortress Maximus. Fortress Maximus! The colossal headmaster Autobot City.
Look! The Terracons are attacking! Transform Fortress Maximus!
Master Transformers!
From city to battle station!
Format meets the eye!
Terracons, form above us and destroy Fortress Maximus!
But Fortress Maximus transforms again, this time into a robot so humongous a separate robot becomes its head.
Its power's awesome! The Transformers!
From Hasbro.
So, I mean, it's really funny watching some of that stuff. And then, like the Micro Machines with John Machida Jr., Micro Machines, just talks 90 miles a minute. And I have no idea what he's saying, like, through part of it, unless I, like, physically watch it, because he talks so fast. Yeah. My brain cannot comprehend enough of that besides Micro Machines, which is just epic in of itself. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just having fun with it. Watching a lot of those, seeing a lot of the old toys that, for the most part, don't exist anymore. Like some of the old board games, some of the old electronic toys we had back in the day.
The Tiger electronic ads. Oh, I love those.
Tiger puts arcade action in the palm of your hand. Games like Batman. Choose your weapons in this 4-level game of action as you jump from rooftop to rooftop trying to get through 6 vicious henchmen to get the Joker. But can you defeat him to win? Also available, Tiger's Batman wrist game for the time of your life. Tiger LCD video games. Video excitement in the palm of your hand.
Tiger
what were some of your favorites out of those? Like, I know Tiger Electronics is like huge for all of us.
Yeah, but like Tiger Electronics was cool because...
Hey kids, now you can unplug the arcades and put the Tiger Challenge in the palm of your hand. Spider-Man. Hobgoblin has taken hostages and set fires. Can you climb with Spider-Man up 99 floors through 5 stages of action? X-Men. 5 stages of adventure let you play Wolverine with claws against the magnetic force field and fire bolts of Magneto 5. So now when you turn on a tiger, you can turn loose the excitement. Because once you've held onto a tiger, you may never want to let it go. Batteries not included, each sold separately.
They were games that you could hold. They were basically handheld games like Game Boy or whatever else, but you didn't need a cartridge. You didn't need anything. You just needed batteries. That's all you needed was 2 batteries.
And the graphics were so bad by comparison to Game Boy. They were fun. They were horribly designed, but they were so much fun until you realized that you were sinking a bunch of batteries into this thing and never going to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I had the Turtles one, I think.
Yeah. I had Jordan versus Bird. I had Paperboy. I had probably a couple other ones. For me, like watching some of this stuff back it's so funny because I am so anti-advertising right now. Not against the advertisers themselves, but like I've said this to Karen plenty of times. I said if it was my choice and it was up to me and whatever, I would cancel our cable package. I would pay for Discovery Plus. I would pay for Disney Plus. I would pay for Hulu. I would pay for like up to 6 streaming services that would get us all of the content that we want without, I mean, it's probably just as much as a cable package, but I would actually cancel our TV package and just go with, pay to get ad-free streaming services because I cannot watch commercials. There's a commercial right now, and this is not related to toys, but she doesn't torment me with it, but she'll put it on every now and then. It's the new Geico commercial with Tag Team. I don't know if you've seen this or not. I'll have to show this to you after the show, and I'll probably put it somewhere here in the audio, but it's one of those things where I'm like, oh my God, there's only so much a car insurance commercial can do.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those, actually.
Okay.
Tasha, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? Hip-hop group Tag Team to help you plan dessert?
French vanilla, rocky road, chocolate, peanut butter cookie dough. Scoop this, scoop this, scoop this, scoop this, scoop shakalaka, shakalaka.
Funny, I've been rewatching Beast Wars for my panel that I'm trying to put together because I know what I'm going to say.
Online.
Yes, and I know what I'm going to say. It's putting it down into a PowerPoint.
Right. When is Iacon online?
The 31st.
Oh, okay. This episode will be up way before then.
Been rewatching Beast Wars, like kind of blitzing through, just rewatching certain episodes here or there. Mostly season 2 and 3. And I'm watching it on Tubi.tv or Tubi TV. And it inundates you with like 4 commercials when it hits you.
Yeah.
And I was going, I hate this. I says, this is why I bought the DVDs. And granted, I was sitting on my phone watching it. So like there's little I can do in that regard. If I was on my computer, I have the DVDs. I would just put them in the player and just play them.
Right.
But sitting there watching them on your phone while you're trying to fall asleep anyway, it's probably not the best idea because you're going to sit there through just as many episodes as you can watch. You're going to watch 4 times the amount of commercials.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they give them to you all at once for the most part. So you're not getting them, every normal ad break. They kind of give it to you during the first ad break. And they're like, hey, suck on this for 5 minutes. And, you know, and some of the ads are shorter, but they feel like they're an eternity. And they're not even clever. Like a lot of the stuff that came out back then, a lot of it was really funny. A lot of it was clever. I mean, I was showing the boys this old John West commercial for the salmon in a can. And I remember when I was in high school, and I was pretty close to graduating, and we were watching stupidvideos.com and albinoblacksheep.com and E-Bombs World and all that stuff, because they had just had a lot of dumb videos on them, and we thought it was hilarious, and there was no YouTube, or at least it was in its infancy.
Yeah.
And they had this John West commercial where they're like, at the river mouth, the bear comes to to find the best salmon. And, so they have these bears digging in the water, and this bear stands up, and this guy comes running along going, ah! And then he runs up to the bear, and then they start getting into a fight, and like fist fight, like standing there, the bear like does some kind of a kung fu move, does a roundhouse kick and kicks the guy in the stomach. And then the guy goes, look, an eagle, and points at the sky, and the bear looks up, and it's doing the like as it looks up, and the guy busts it right in the balls, and the thing grabs it, and it goes like barreled over, and the guy runs over, grabs the bear's fish, and then walks away. And they're like, So I mean, like, those type of stupid commercials are hilarious, but they don't make stuff like that anymore. Like they're not even clever. And I'm not saying like a lot of the old commercials were great, because as we've stated, some of the toy ones are just horrendous. One of the toy ones that popped up.
Go ahead.
Well, one of the toy ones that popped up for certain, it's teaching young girls how to call guys on a fake phone.
Yeah.
For a dating thing. And I'm like, oh, this is so horrible. Like, this is such a horrible toy.
Who's got a crush on you? Hello, hunks. It's Dream Phone, the electronic game with the talking phone. To win, call guys, get clues, figure out which guy really likes you.
He's not wearing a hat.
Bye, guys. What'd he say? My secret. Aha. To you.
He's not at the beach.
See you later. Guys. It's Dan. Dan, my man.
You're right. I really like you.
Yes. Dream Phone, the hot electronic talking phone game. It's for you.
On so many levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, say what you will about Home Alone 2. I know a lot of us do enjoy the second Home Alone film, but I mean, part of that movie was a toy commercial for Talk Boy, and I wanted a Talk Boy tape recorder so bad. That movie came out in 92, so I was 12. Yeah. And I never got one, which is fine. I don't need it now, kind of thing. And the funny thing is, my toy collecting, and I know we're not here to talk about toy collecting, we're here to talk about advertising, but it ties in.
You can have lots of high-tech fun with Tiger's Talk Boy tape recorder.
Hey, stop drooling on me. Hey, stop drooling on me.
It even has speed control.
Hi, kids. We're home early.
Hi, kids. We're home early.
Tiger's Talk Boy tape recorder comes with audio cassette. Batteries not included.
I got a lot of the stuff I had as a kid back about a decade or so ago. Right around 2009, 2010, right when we were starting the network up. That's why we had Toycast, and Toycast is probably going to make a comeback with the top 100 toys at some point. But it's one of those things where I was buying all the stuff that I had as a child back then, 10 years ago or so. And now I'm like, all I need is a Funko. Because as long as I have the character, I don't care about it transforming or any of that kind of stuff.
That's what's kind of funny is I was reading on some of the Discord channels, people are like, yeah, there's this one peg on Black Arachnia and on Cheetor for the War for Cybertron Kingdom line. They're like, the peg sometimes snaps. And they're like, have you had that problem? And there was a couple people that have, most people haven't. Yeah. And I was like, even if they do, I never plan to transform these.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the Megatron figure and the Scourge. Mm-hmm. They're never going to transform. They come in robot mode now,
They stay in robot mode,
and they're going to
now.
stay that way. Like, I never plan to transform them, so the materials will never get worn out.
Mhm.
And that's what's funny is, like, back in the day, everything came in beast or vehicle mode. They're like, you know, for the most part. And then nowadays, like, everything comes in robot. They're like, we got to showcase this awesome robot. And it's like, hey, thanks, I don't have to do all the legwork. Which kind of defeats the purpose of a transformer. But again, like, I don't really care at this point.
Right.
Like, they're display pieces. I don't care.
Yeah. And this is why I love and a lot of YouTube reviewers do this, but I remember him being the first one that did back and forth transformations. Our good buddy Octobotamus, aka Paul. He was one of the first ones that I saw do the transform from vehicle to bot and then bot to vehicle. Because most of the other ones, people like Jesse, aka Matrix Prime, and Bolt Matrix, at least for a while, were only doing one way, you know, from vehicle to robot. And I understand this is back in the days when YouTube had to be, you know, a 10-minute or less video, whereas Paul's videos are basically a whole podcast episode in video form, which is fine. I'm not trying to make fun of the guy or anything like that. I'm just saying that because he does the robot to vehicle and vehicle to robot, it's like, oh, that's kind of nice to see both ways. And however it's packaged, it's like, oh, if it's packaged in bot mode, like you said, I'm set. I don't need to transform it. And
yeah, you know, so I mean, yeah, I have no inclination to do it. I bought them for the robot. It's kind of like comics. Sometimes I buy them for the cover. I don't care what's inside. I just like the cover. Because I've bought many a DC comics that way. Like, the cover art's awesome. The content inside sucks. So, like, yeah. I mean, it depends. It depends on what you're reading. I'm just saying, like, in some of the ones I bought on, you know, the discount side of things.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, like, some of these commercials, it was kind of funny just watching them and seeing how dated they were.
Oh, yeah.
I especially love the 80s and the 90s stuff just because I remember a lot of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. They were advertising to us to basically bug our parents to buy us whatever was being advertised, kind of thing.
And we did. And I mean, if you think about it, we were bombarded with advertising like no other when we were kids, because they were like, okay, we got to get them to get the toys. We got to get them to watch the shows. We got to get them to buy the VHS tapes. Yes, people, there were VHS tapes. Some of us had older stuff too, but yeah, I mean, my kids look at that. They're like, what's that? I'm like, I'm so old. Because I don't
even have kids, and I know I'm so old at this point. Well, because
my kids are like, it's funny because when we're watching a video on YouTube, for instance, and sometimes you cannot skip the video or the ad.
The ad.
And they're like, can't you skip the ad? And we're like, no. Or like they'll watch something. I think, what was it? We watched the Macy's Day Parade like last year, not 2020, but 2019.
2019, yeah.
And the boys are like, oh, turn on the show again. Turn on the show. I'm like, this is live. You can't, you have to watch it. You're suffering.
That's the thing. Live television.
And they're like, this sucks.
How old are your boys again?
They hear me say it sucks. So
No. I know. I'm just saying, I'm asking how old are they?
8 and 6 now, but at the time they were like,
God, Ian is 8 now. Holy crap!
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's got a mouth on him, but
look who his father is.
yeah. So, anyways, yeah, he's learning what it's like to have nothing.
Oh boy.
Yeah, when your mouth overloads, your room ends up pretty empty.
Jeez.
Temporarily. Yeah, he's learning the trick, or the lesson I learned as a kid. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Otherwise, your stuff goes away until you do.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. It's funny because like the stuff that my kids play with, yeah, they're interested in a lot of toys. But the funny thing is, when I got a toy, and I know we've kind of dived off of the commercial train into toys.
It's okay.
Almost Toycast 100.
Not yet. Soon.
Yeah. You're saving that for the top 100.
Of course.
So anyway,
I'm actually going to edit the entire top 100 into Toycast 100 and make it a 5-hour podcast. Blah.
That's sick. Just do part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I find it hilarious. My boys don't play with toys for very long. When I saved up my money, I mean, I remember working my tail off to get Transmetal Optimus Primal.
Right.
And really any of the figures. I remember earning money so I could buy Transmetal 2 Megatron. I went to Walmart and paid $20 for it. And of course, I quadrupled the price that I paid for it when I sold it on eBay. But because he was immaculate. But yeah, I held on to my stuff. Like I played with it pretty frequently, like all of my toys that I got. And my kids, they'll want something. They'll want it. 3 days. We've counted 3 days after they get something new.
They're done with it.
You never see it again.
Yep.
Like it's just sitting around somewhere. Like you're like, whatever happened to, I don't know. And it's like, didn't you just get that like 5 days ago? Like, and they're like, I want to get this. And then we're like, we just need to sell all your toys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you play with nothing. We're like, it's weird because like when I was younger, like I bought crap because I wanted it and I actually used it.
Right. And it's so funny, and I've said this before, and it's just based on how I remember it happening. I don't know if it's true or not. I assume it is. But, and I've told this story on other shows, but since this is a new show, I get to tell it again. When I was a kid, my parents were divorced. They divorced when I was 2, so I don't really remember the divorce. I just remember living with my mom and going to visit my dad. And at one point or another, my dad lived in Rhode Island, in Providence, Rhode Island. We lived in southeastern Massachusetts. And for some weird reason, and I don't know if it's some subconscious thing about, oh, your mom's the hero and your dad's the villain, and that's not how it's supposed to be with divorced parents or anything like that. Whatever, you're not supposed to think like that, but apparently that's how my young brain processed it, because I had all my heroes at my mom's, and I had all my evil warriors from Masters of the Universe at my dad's. And one time I went to my dad's, and my toys were not there anymore. He sold them all. His reasoning was, and this was 1986, this was the year you were born. His reasoning was, you're too old to play with toys. And that's just what I remember. I don't know if it's actually factually correct, but that's just what my brain damaged self remembers. And I'm like, oh, okay. My mom had my Ninja Turtles from 88 and my Castle Grayskull from 82 or 83 or whenever the hell Castle Grayskull came out. She had that thing for almost 30 years. And in 2012 or 2011, 2012 or 2013, my Castle Grayskull finally deteriorated to the point where I had to actually throw it out. It actually hurt me to throw it out. But it's one of those things where I love the art of toy collecting. I love being able to toy hunt and actually find what I want, and not necessarily, like, I don't want to get into the whole scalper thing because we're supposed to be talking about advertising, but the whole point is, if I see a commercial or if I see, even if I just see an image, I mean, images are also advertisements. You look at, Facebook nowadays and things like that, and for example, Funko will put out an image of something they've got coming out, and I'm like, ooh, hey, like when they put out the images for the Funko Transformers, I'm like, those are the most unique Funko Pops I've ever seen because they're Transformers, and I want all of them. At some point, I will have them all, but it's one of those things where it's like, ooh, I want that. And I'm glad that I can be like, ooh, I want that, and I'll either save up for it or get it eventually on a discount or something. But man, it's just, advertising isn't what it used to be.
No, it certainly isn't. And what I find interesting is that
hey man, get portable. Get a Game Gear Supersonic Sports Pack. A color portable Game Gear, carrying case, and 2-hit games. Sonic 2, and the Majors Pro Baseball. Whoa, even save $50. The Game Gear Supersonic Sports Pack. You know who makes it.
Coffee? Tea?
It's gotten like more diverse, like more in your face. Like you can be talking about something and your phone either hears it or you've done one search on it, either on your computer or on your phone, and something is linked. And it will send that cookie along the whole trail of everywhere you've ever been. And they're like, hey, you looked up Transformers. Here's the ad. Here's where you can buy them. You know, exactly. and so it's like, okay, guys, it's a little far. Like, please don't continuously like shove this in my face.
It's so funny because it's like right before we started recording this episode of Studio 2009, you were talking to me about Kingdom Megatron or something, and I went on mute for half a second so I could use Google Voice to search Transformers Kingdom commercials to see if they had any of the commercials online. And the first ones that popped up were the Earthrise ones from 2020. And I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for, damn it. But I know as soon as we're done talking about this topic and all of this, I know as soon as I stop playing Minion Rush on my phone as we're doing this podcast, as soon as I open Facebook, I'm going to have some sort of advertisement from something we've mentioned here, whether it's new, old, or otherwise, because that's just how the world works. We live in a microphone-filled world where everything is heard by every device. I mean, you know, you mentioned the Blendick from not you mentioned it, but you know, in general, you mentioned Blendick from Transformers Michael Bay, and at some point, the blender who turns into whatever from Sam's Kitchen will show up in my feed, and I'm like, oh, great.
It's like, yeah, I'm not really interested, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, also, they're really good with advertising because they target you, they hyper target you.
Oh, yeah.
And niche target you. And to the point where I think Mary's been looking for certain things periodically, and it'll just magically appear on her feed. And she has no idea where it came from. Like, she's like, yep. I talked about it. I was trying to figure out what it's called. And then my phone shows me what it is.
Yeah, that's how it is now.
And I said, that's just creepy on like multiple levels. Just like, for instance, if you're using Google Play or you have a Google Home,
right?
And you're like, hey, Google, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure I just set a bunch of people's Googles off on it. Hey, Google, play all things Transformers. So yeah, we figured out too with that, like it'll play music, like if you tell it what kind of music you want, and then you can tell it like, yeah, never play this song again. And it will never play that particular song again. Yep. And it will go to something else. But I've also figured out that you can bypass their advertising if you don't pay for it. Where there's a will, there's a way. But yeah, it's either way, a lot of it's way too in your face.
Yeah.
A little too close for comfort, makes you kind of wonder, you know, how much of your privacy is actually your privacy. So
true. And the funny thing is that it's like, you know, would I have loved to have had a Samsung Galaxy S9 back in the 80s and, you know, had this instantaneous, but it's also crazy because it'll advertise things to me that I have zero interest in, or what, like, or it'll advertise things to me that I've already done. So Discovery Plus is the new streaming service from Discovery Networks. It has Food Network, it has HGTV, it has Investigation Discovery, it has the Discovery Channel. So you basically pay $7 a month. I pay $7. You can pay $5 a month, but I pay $7 a month because ever since I found the Investigation Discovery Channel, I think back in 2008, 2009, or 22, basically 10, 11, or 12 years ago, I've always wanted ad-free ID. And now, at $7 a month, I have it. I signed up for their free 7-day trial, went through all that, and now I have the service and I'm paying for it on a monthly basis. As soon as I signed up for this free 7-day trial in Facebook, Discovery Plus, subscribe now. I'm already a subscriber, you idiots. Like,
you idiot.
Yeah, like, get your shit together, man. Like, seriously? Like, it would be different if I unsubscribed and then needed to resubscribe. Like, I recently unsubscribed from Audible for a while. And it's like, oh, come back to Audible for whatever. Audible usually has a year-end holiday deal of, oh, you can get the next 6 months with 3 credits for $5 a month. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. But it's like, again, we live in a world where advertising, as you said, is so in your face. And it was in your face back when we were kids, too. It just wasn't always in your face because at times your parents made you turn the TV off.
Well, and also they made commercials have to somewhat tie in with whatever show you were watching. Like the age appropriate, yeah. And they do somewhat now, but there's not a lot of kids TV shows on cable. There are a lot on streaming now.
And that's the advertising has changed so much, and it's so weird. I wish I had messaged our good buddy Mike Laidman, who does Part-Time Nerds, Full-Time Dads, and Burnt Popcorn, 2 of his podcasts, because he actually used to do advertising, purchasing. He used to be in the business kind of thing up there in Canada. And maybe Michael, I'll send Mike this podcast, and maybe he'll comment or send us an email or something. And but it's so over the top. And you're right. Like, yes, there is kids content on Cartoon Network. There is kids content on Disney Channel. But every kid nowadays, or kids most of the time, unless you're raised a certain way, they want iPads, they want iPhones, they want mobile, they want this, they want that. And we've gotten to the point now, which I think this is cool, and I think this is great. This is a way to do the whole parental controlling thing. Every app that I've seen that's a streamer, Netflix, Hulu, whatever, insert whatever name of whatever app you want to use, Boomerang, whatever. But specifically like Netflix and Hulu and that kind of stuff. They have, oh, is this a kid's profile? And I love that they do that. Even though I don't have children, I still want these companies to be looking out for the children of our future.
Mm-hmm.
And just some of these advertisements are it's so fun to look back at them. Like, I saw the slip and slide one, and I'm like, oh my god, I haven't thought of slip and slide in so long.
Yeah, some of the stuff that popped up on there, it was kind of funny. The ads and the commercials, and like I said, there was just so much of the old stuff that you've either seen a new evolution of in modern day or never seen again.
Right, or it's gone away. I saw it was so funny when we started talking about doing this episode. I went over to, I think I'm subscribed to the channel, but if I'm not, I'm sorry. I probably will after this. It's a channel called The Knight Rider Historian on YouTube. Obviously, specifically targeted at Knight Rider fans and people who love the show and David Hasselhoff and all that. They did a video of Knight Rider commercials through the years of the toys and the action figures and the this, that, whatever. In this video are 2 ads. One, I always wanted the thing, and the other one, I had the thing, and I didn't let it go until I think the back wheel came off. So the first thing was the Knight Rider Knight 2000 voice car.
Wow, the Knight 2000!
Call me Kit. For you.
It talks!
What is our expectation?
Push the license plate. Knight 2000 voice car says 6 different things. Sequence may vary, batteries not included. And it comes with a Michael Knight action figure.
Scanner indicates danger ahead.
Kit, save me! Hurry! This was Knight's lucky day.
The Knight 2000 voice car comes with a Michael Knight action figure from Kenner.
And it was supposed to be the voice of William Daniels as Kit, and you just press the back of the license plate, and he has, 3, 4, 5 sayings or whatever. But it was basically, a little action figure car of Kit that talked. I never had it. My supposed friend, and this was like kindergarten, this is 85, 86, kindergarten, first grade. supposed friend, I'll never forget this guy's name because it still irks me to this day. Brian Reed. He had it. I didn't. I just wanted to press the button a couple of times to hear. Dude wouldn't, and I get it. Kids don't let other kids touch their toys sometimes, but like, I just wanted to hear the voice out of the car. That's all I wanted to do. You know, kind of thing. And then the other thing that I did actually have was the Knight Rider big wheel. It's the only big wheel I ever wanted out of all the big wheel bicycle, tricycle things that they ever put out back in the day. It's the only one I ever wanted, and I had it up until I think at one point I wore it out so much that one of the back wheels fell off.
The Knight Rider Power Cycle with Kit on a pretend instrument panel.
Here he comes.
You can pretend Kit is talking, leading you to the enemy.
Standing behind the fence. Let's go, Skip. He's gonna pass us. Yeah. The spin out plate. This guy is cool. One more thing. Go ahead, Turbo. We got him. You're no match for Knight Rider. Right, Kit?
There's also the Knight Rider 2000 pedal car with a real voice for Kit.
Activate the turbo boost.
I had the TMNT one, and I rode that thing until I disintegrated the front tire. Because it was all plastic, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So to the listeners, if we even still have any listeners for this show, because I know we're only 12 episodes into this new podcast, but still, hopefully people are still listening. Hopefully we've got a bunch of new people that are listening that haven't listened to any of our stuff before. For you guys who are listening to this, what were some of your favorite toy commercials? 80s, 90s, 60s, 70s, whatever. What were some of your favorites? Let us know in the comments. Shoot us an email, feedback@geekcastradio.com, any of that good stuff. You can also send MP3 files to feedback@geekcastradio.com. Just leave your name in the voicemail of who you are and what you liked and what you didn't like and whatever, and we'll play it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to bring up before we close it out? Is there anything we missed that we didn't get to talk about?
I don't think so.
Hey dudes, it's MMVC, the Micro Machines video channel. We've got drivers, classic chromas, and x-rays right here.
If you're looking around for a new set of wheels, we got classic chroma, shiny bumpers and grills. And x-rays, you can see the engine too. Micro Machines, more style for you.
You can check out these drivers with someone inside. Real looking dudes at the wheel for a passenger feel. Micro Machines, drivers, x-rays, and classic chromers vehicle packs, each sold separately from Galoob.
Decian, the superhero webcomic. Decian's got superhero antics and sexy girls. For action, comedy, mayhem, and more, read it now at Decian.com. DASIEN.com.
In the beginning came the beasts and all that creeps, crawls, and flies. But nature lies, they're robots in disguise. Beast Wars, the next step in Transformer evolution, is here. New Maximals, heroic animals, battle the evil reptile and insect forces of the Predacons. They fight tooth and claw, heroic Dinobot attacks, morphs from Raptor Beast into vicious robot with spinning Velocirotor blades. Evil Waspinator full of venom changes like never before, from insect to high-tech, and puts the sting on Cheetor. But there's more to Cheetor than meets the eye. Under the skin lurks a robot within, with hidden weapons firing. But treacherous Tarantula mutates and counterattacks. Charging, slashing, blasting. All new Beast Wars. The next step in Transformer evolution is here. And when you buy the Maximo Predacon 2-pack, you get a free Beast Wars comic book. Beast Wars! Each sold separately.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The Geekcast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure, The Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news, play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies, film by film. Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience The Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or geekcastradio.com.
On the Simplistic Reviews podcast, we talk movies. We talk TV. We talk...
Hello, Julie, what the heck are you doing?
Trying to make our spots sound more exciting by adding explosions.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could have got the point across with sound effects, not the real thing.
Car.
download the show on iTunes or at simplisticreviews.blogspot.com.
I'm sure your insurance company will cover that.
No, they won't.
No, they probably won't.
You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on this and all other episode posts. Please do this. Here are all the ways you can listen to us nowadays. Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and of course, the home where our files exist, Spreaker. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Please do this. I'll have to check and see if that's listed under where it's supposed to be. Anyway, follow us on Twitter at Geekcast Radio is the network, at It's Studio 2009, ITSSTUDIO Studio 2009. I am at TFG1Mike. What is your Twitter, sir?
At SCP21.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. And you can also check out Studio 2009 podcast over there. Next time, we're either going to talk about scream therapy with ice cream and actual screaming, or it's going to be Burton's Batman, where we review the first two 80s and 90s Bat films from Tim Burton. For now, I am TFG1Mike with
Steve Megatron Phillips.
You'll hear us back in the studios soon.